Hello, happy Friday! It's Friday, Friday, Friday! Welcome back to this channel. There is some things to get into because my gosh, Blakeski is just off the rails. This is not a good look. It continues to go real bad. The gloves have definitely come off and she's taking everyone with her. OMG, let's get into that. We're also going to talk about a little bit of a CEO cheater. Yes, we are. And a few other things to get into, plus reading some of your comments from this week. So if you're ready, I'm ready. I already have my lip gloss on because we are getting into it. You are in frame with Mandy Magnan. Before we get into all of the messiness in the It Ends With Us and Blake literally going scorched earth and just being the obvious bully that we all knew that she was, I was asked to do a video on the CEO who got caught with another woman at a Coldplay concert. Shall I talk about it? Yes, I shall. Cheater, 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 cheater. First, let's just roll the clip of this super viral moment that happened at the Coldplay concert. Let's roll the clip.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure.
A very below average looking white dude was caught on the Jumbotron at the Coldplay concert. And like, these people, are y'all okay? Because like, you ducked pretty quick, but the internet is quicker because within 24 hours, they found this man. This is a CEO, Andy Byron. He is the CEO of Astronomer. And now he's out here with his HR girl, side chick, babe, whatever, little tot thing, little booty on the side at a Coldplay concert. They got caught on the Jumbotron and this man didn't know what to do, so he ducked. If y'all just would have played it cool, the video wouldn't have gone viral. Okay? This is so crazy. What a way to get caught. Nutty. Apparently, he was in the arms of a woman named Kabat is her last name, and she only joined the team about 9 months ago and allegedly had just got a promotion. Not only that, this woman was in your office for 9 months. It only took 9 months to ruin an entire marriage. Slimy. I guarantee this isn't the first time this man has cheated. That's for sure. However, the woman, Kabat, that he's with, is married to like a huge millionaire or something. And this guy's like a millionaire. I think maybe people are calling them billionaires. I don't know their status, but she's already with it. Okay? And now she's over here with another one like, yo, can you guys start throwing some billionaires my way? You know what I'm saying? No, I'm just kidding, please. I mean, not men like this, that's for sure. So of course this thing goes viral. The lady in the video, Kabat, she changes her whole name, and how they found them was on LinkedIn. Now, if you're gonna do some shady stuff and have hate thrown at you and do all of this stuff, it could happen on X, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, but for it to happen on your professional site like LinkedIn is not good for business, okay? It's not good for business. His wife woke up and on Facebook allegedly saw the video, was getting all of these messages. She's also changed her name. I'm not going to say her name here. And what a heartbreaking thing to witness. I don't know how this man thought that he was going to get away with it. Did he just, what was he telling his wife? Like, oh no, we're just going to a work dinner. Or no, it's just like, we got a box only for staff, only at Coldplay. Or was he ever even going to tell his wife he went to Coldplay? Like, what kind of man? And for the wife, God is on your side. The universe is on your side. It needed you to see that shady ass man, because I guarantee this isn't the first time, and I guarantee he would have been doing it for maybe years behind your back. Just know he's a cheater and he's been cheating, and you, by the grace of God and the internet sleuths, can now start hopefully your journey to heal in whatever way you need to do it. And I sincerely hope it's wiping your hands clean of him, because you deserve better. And then, of course, the cheater had to put out a statement, because he is the CEO of this company, Astronomer, I believe it's called. And yeah, he put out a little statement yesterday, and it says, "I want to acknowledge the moment that's been circulating online and the disappointment it's caused." The moment? Okay. What was supposed to be a night of music and joy, no, what was supposed to be your affair, was supposed to be an affair, what was supposed to be a night of music and joy turned into a deeply personal mistake playing out on a very public stage. I want to sincerely apologize to my wife, my family, and the team at Astronomer. You deserve better from me as a partner, as a father, and as a leader. Ooh, cue the crocodile tears. This is not what I want to be or how I want to represent the company I helped build. This is not who I want to be or how I want to represent the company I have built. I'm taking time to reflect, to take accountability, and to figure out the next steps personally and professionally. I ask for privacy as I navigate that process. I also want to express how troubling it is that what should have been a private moment became public without my consent. Oh my gosh, boo-hoo. Did your wife give you consent to go stick your ding-a-ling in other women? Especially the women that work for you? I don't care. Like, this is nutty. You didn't ask for consent to be on the Jumbotron. Okay, consent, right? Okay. I respect artists and entertainers, but I hope we can all think more deeply about the impact of turning someone else's life into a spectacle. As a friend once sang, lights will guide you home and ignite your bones, and I will try to fix you. Andy. Oh man, busted. This is just an hilarious apology from a caught cheater. If you wanted privacy, if you didn't want your consent, what were you doing at a Coldplay concert? What were you doing? You know, most cheaters get little motels or cheap little hotels or do it in their car. Or wait, you're at an entire arena of thousands of people with pretty good balcony seats, it looks like. And you wanted privacy? I think your wife deserves privacy after what you've just put your family through from being a horn dog. There is no excuse for cheating in a marriage. I am so sorry. Coward, okay? Because if you're not happy in your marriage in whatever that is, if that's sexually, financially, spiritually, emotionally, whatever, you have decisions to make. You can continue to work on the relationship, seek counseling, open communications, plan date nights, maybe take your wife to this Coldplay concert, right? Or you can leave and let her be free of you. Now, I take cheating serious, okay? And I'll tell y'all a little secret about my life. My father was a cheater, okay, in my parents' marriage. A lot of infidelities. Who knows how many? But one for sure, when I was a teenager, caught him, and I can go into the story, but I caught him, and I had to sit my mom down and tell her as a teenager, okay? It was awful. And then I watched my mom break and was broken for years, like a decade. And as a teenager, having to console your mom and be the parent and hold her while she cried and be there like with your parents and just see your dad in that light. Awful. Okay? Awful. Andy, you are absolutely, this is so crazy. And the power dynamic, I mean, regardless of her position, CEO, HR, y'all are, nah, I hope both of you get divorced. I hope the hoe in this story, okay? I hope she doesn't get nothing from her millionaire husband, and I hope your wife takes you for everything that you got. Okay, period. What a way to get caught, though, at a Coldplay concert? Just like that? I mean, y'all didn't have any problem just cuddling and holding it all together, but as soon as you're on the Jumbotron, And if you would have just turned her around, you didn't even have to kiss or anything, but neither of you were facing the camera, or if you guys would have just acted normal, you wouldn't have been caught. But like right away, and then he ducks. That tells me everything I need to know about you. You're just gonna duck and leave that woman up there like that? My gosh. My gosh. I mean, that's like if you're, doing a little freaky deaky and someone opens the door and you're like, we weren't doing nothing. Okay, Mr. Cheater CEO. Okay. Y'all see, it doesn't matter how much money you have, the highest position, the most amount of money, you're shady, you're immoral, you're just like, ew, 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 ew. More money, more problems, just gross. And, it's actually a serious blessing in disguise for your wife too. I mean, this is a wild way to find out. And maybe there were signs, maybe she had suspicions, but unless y'all have like an open marriage or some kind of like contract where you can be doing that kind of stuff, okay, women deserve better. Your wife and kids deserve better. Okay, let's get into it. It ends with never. Blake, what are you doing? Okay, what are you doing? I think that you are at this point losing. Okay, big time. You've now crossed the line where you can't come back from. Okay, and I think I said it a few months ago in 2025 still. I think it was like February or March where I said it's not too late. It's not too late for you to apologize, explain yourselves. I'm sure you have amazing PR. I mean, Leslie Sloan, she's not in this case anymore, so she has a lot of time on her hands, I'm sure, to help you draft a little apology. And you could have recovered eventually, right? From all of these shenanigans and crazy stuff that you've been doing. You could have recovered. At this point, you're done. It's done. Blake Lively has now subpoenaed 20 Twitter Xers, however you want to name them, has now subpoenaed 20 Xers on top of the 16 content creators that she's already done, on top of the other 60 subpoenas. And I let y'all know when I joined that conference call with Judge Lyman on Tuesday that Blake Lively's lawyers, they said that they have way more subpoenas that haven't been served. They're not done yet. And I think they're going to keep going. I'm not understanding the method to the madness here because you're not going to find nothing. It's so wild. Are you thinking that the more the merrier? If I subpoena 100 people, maybe I'll find one person that orchestrated this huge smear campaign? Because it's a massive conspiracy, right? Everyone's in on the conspiracy. Brian Friedman and his law firm, everyone at Wayfarer, including Steve Soritz, everyone that was on set, including the actor who played the OBGYN, Jed Wallace, all of the PR people, and now every single content creator on YouTube and on X, other than a handful of us, which is so bizarre because the ones that have been subpoenaed opposed to some of us who haven't been subpoenaed, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense, okay? Everyone's part of the conspiracy? Nah, come on. This is great. This is Delulu. I mean, they said in August, if the Wayfarer people don't apologize, Ryan Reynolds said gloves would come off. Well, gloves have come off. And it's so crazy that Blake Lively over here has been saying this whole time, oh, they wanted to go scorched earth on me. They're trying to bury me. And now what are you? Are literally Khaleesi. You are burning it to the ground. And I know you love to reference Game of Thrones. Have you seen the ending? Did you see what happened to Khaleesi? Okay. One of the ex-users that she subpoenaed received the subpoena the day after she could have answered to it. Make that make sense, X. Make that make sense. So she receives an email, the same email that all of the other YouTubers received, saying, if you want to fight this, we're subpoenaing you. We got this letter to subpoena you. If you want to fight this, you have until this day. It was the day after. Okay, but this is her, and I would love us all to continue to share everyone who's being subpoenaed and attacked and bullied and silenced by Blake Lively to continue to support each other, because all she's doing is giving us more fuel for the fire. It's insane. And to not even have made a statement about it when you know her people are all up in the public, right? It's not looking good. She's not ahead of it. This is not good. But this was a spiritual shift, and this is what she had to say about it. It's a breaking exclusive. Blake Lively's legal team subpoenaed 20 ex-users. Unredacted subpoena reveals usernames. I was just subpoenaed over my ex post on the Blake versus Justin case. Like many of you, I share my thoughts and opinions on publicly available information. I'm a licensed attorney and casual content creator who started covering this case in late December 2024 to early January 2025 because it mattered and interested me. I'm not monetized, no ads, no sponsors, no donations, just over 2,400 followers, $0 made. Like many of you, I was drawn to this case not just because it involves two celebrities in a legal dispute, but because it exposes something bigger: how media manipulation, celebrity power, and unchecked PR influence are used to control public perception and narratives. Yes, and Blake and Ryan were running with the narrative. They've been all over PR, and now the game is over. I think Blake here is trying to, if I go down, you go down with me kind of attitude. Because, of course, the people who are going to be fighting the subpoena, which I believe so far from who I've talked to and the things that I've seen, are definitely fighting the subpoena. But you know what? That costs money. And I think Blake is thinking this is a way to get back at the people who said anything about me. This is a way to hit them back. I don't think she's going to find anything because there was no smear campaign. People generally didn't F with you, period, okay? You came out, you had a chance to do better from all of your past mistakes, okay? Hosting the SNL back in 2009, doing some racist skits on there, doing a racist skit about, if you haven't seen it, you can see it. But then also doing a skit about DV and Tiger Woods while Riri was the performer. And that year, Riri and Chris Brown, if you know, you know. Okay, so that happened. Okay, blackface. Your crazy Gossip Girl days, okay, girl? The interviews you did, nutty, okay? Nutty. Even referencing your co-star being born in a cage when she was born in prison because her mom was an inmate is ludicrous, okay? All of this stuff. The plantation wedding, okay? That was huge still. All of this stuff from your past, okay? Mean, cruel girl, okay? Behavior. Then you get this break. And you can come out and just be a normal freaking woman, okay? Just an artist, an actor. You can talk about the character, her depth, her story, the power of leaving, the strength you have to make those decisions, what it does to you when you are in these cycles of abuse. I mean, anything. But what you decided to do was wash and blow dry people's hair. Talk about your wardrobe, your rings, your dragons, Ryan Reynolds, anything you could, except for the actual meaning of the movie. And people weren't messing with it because many women, 1 in 3 women, will be violated in their lifetime by a man. The amount of women who have been in domestic violence situations, partner on partner hate and crime and violence, the amount of women who don't survive abusive relationships, who don't leave because they can't until 7, 8, 10 times later, who unfortunately lose their lives when they do try to leave or when they do leave. It's very serious. And what you did was make a mockery of it. And people wouldn't care if you flashed your rings and your shoes and your jewelry and blah, blah, blah. People wouldn't have cared if at least you then took the time to talk about women and their pain and actually talk about Lily Bloom's story without being like, oh no, that's just a part of who she is. That's not everything. What? No words. And now you're attacking content creators. Everybody. You've subpoenaed so many people. I mean, the opposing counsel, content creators, YouTubers, anybody, when literally your husband, your PR person, and your New York Times source just got off? It's not making sense, babe. Which brings me to this. Judge Lyman. Come to the front, please. There's a lot going on in the courts. This is a letter filed by Judge Lyman. Now, he already filed this a few days ago, but now he's just reiterating the fact to people. And it's kind of nutty. And it's baddie, okay? And I'm no lawyer, so I'm not really sure what grounds this is, but I do want to bring it back to something that also I've just found. I mean, it's just a little bit interesting here. But anyway, he's pretty much denying anyone who wants to file a motion to quash if they'd like to stay anonymous. So unless they are willing to come forward and put their names in the court, he will not entertain any motions from any creators or anybody that's received a subpoena to quash it. What? Is weird. The clerk's office has notified the court that it has received a revised motion from the anonymous owner of a certain YouTube account to quash a subpoena issued to Google seeking information regarding that YouTube account. The motive offers, in effect, to provide the identity of the movant to the court, but not the litigants or the public. This does not comply with the court's previous order, and the court will not entertain the motion. The purpose of the identification requirement is not only for the court to know who is seeking relief, but for the public and opposing parties to have this knowledge. The people have a right to know who is using their courts. The people have a right to know who is using their courts? Who's using their courts? The people have a right to know? Didn't the Wayfarer people and also the people have a right to know about the Van Zandt fake lawsuit filed by a sham subpoena? So the Wayfarer people didn't have a right to know about that abuse of the courts, but simple private content creators who want to keep their information private from Snake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, that's not okay. They're not okay to have their information redacted and kept private in the courts because the people have a right to know who is using their courts. Accordingly, as previously stated, the court will not entertain the moment to quash unless it is either de-anonymized or accompanied by a motion requesting leave to proceed anonymously in this court and explaining why the movant's interest in anonymity outweighs the public interest in disclosure and any prejudice to the opposing party. Bah! Why I think this is so nutty, because on the same day, July 17th, yesterday, a letter motion to seal for continued sealing was filed, and the judge is agreeing to seal a lot of the things or continue to seal them because of third-party names and information and to keep it private and away from the public. Yeah, but for, anyone else who gets subpoenaed, it's okay if, you have to show your information. You can't stay anonymous. But he's willing to seal all of this other stuff. Couldn't he just seal the motions to quash from the content creators? Maybe the content creators are emailing because they can't afford freaking lawyers because they're not monetized and they don't make any money. And lawyers are $500 to $900 an hour. Okay, they don't have money like Blake Lively, okay? But this was a very interesting thing because also in this letter of motion, it says that the Wayfarer parties have not address to the court whether they want to keep certain things sealed, and he's giving them a few days to reply as to whether or not they want to continue to have them sealed or unsealed. But Blake Lively has made requests to have all of this stuff sealed, and he's granted it because people's information is private. Yeah, so it's good for them, but not for the others. It's just all very weird and confusing. Let's just recap a few things that have happened, because in the last few days, this week has been nutty in the court. There's been a lot of things filed, but we'll just go over a few things quite quickly. And then I do want to talk about the motion that was granted in part and denied in part for the Wayfarer people. And that has to do with Blake Lively. But let's just quickly browse over what's been going on the last couple of days. Okay. On July 16th, the opinion and order, that was for Jed Wallace, who was dismissed. We already talked about that. It was without prejudice. We'll see if Blake Lively amends, refiles. I mean, we'll see what happens there. That's technically why her deposition was postponed, because she might re-amend for Jed Wallace and try to bring him back in. But for now, dismissed. The timing of that, chef's kiss by the judge if you're on, Blake's team, I guess. It was kind of strange timing to have it filed the day before, knowing her deposition was scheduled that day, but we're moving on because y'all already know how I feel about that. Then on July 16th, that is where he filed the first time, saying that it will not entertain the motion to quash unless it is either de-anonymized or accompanied by a motion requesting to leave, proceed anonymously. So unless you can prove why you should stick anonymous, then he's not going to entertain it. I think that's very, very sad. Then they had an emergency council meeting. That's where Blake Lively postponed her deposition. Ezra Hudson was nice enough to file a letter addressing the court, letting us all know that her and the Wayfarer people, Lively's parties and the Wayfarer parties, their council met and they all agreed to extend Lively's deposition now, to reschedule it to July 31st. Also, what happened on July 16th, right up here is an order denying motion for reconsideration. This was for Brett Douglas McDowell. As you know, he's been filing in the courts trying to get information about the character Dogpool, anything from Marvel, to get discovery. And the judge has denied that motion for reconsideration. And that's also really sucky and super sad for Brett, because he's trying so hard to fight Ryan Reynolds for everything that they've done to him and his partner Rieko. So that was also denied. And then yesterday, that was the letter, the order saying, again, he's not going to take anybody anonymously with these subpoenas. You have to come straight to the court or prove why you should stay anonymous. And then the order just after that is what we're going to talk about next. And that's the order granting in part and denying in part the motion to compel for Blake Lively's financial records, which is so cray-cray that she doesn't want to show any of her financial records, but yet is totally okay subpoenaing content creators for theirs. The July 17th that we're looking at, the order terminating the motion, that's the one that I was talking about, that they want to know if we seal things, unseal things. We haven't heard from anyone. Then yesterday, Kevin Fritz for the Wayfarer people did come on and request a motion to continue sealing the docket entries. The judge came back and granted that motion, of course, to seal those documents, and he's keeping all of Blake Lively's stuff that she requested sealed. So there is some personal information there, like telephone numbers, addresses, clients. I guess in the Wayfarers motions, they have all of their witnesses and stuff, so they want all of that sealed. That's fine. It's staying sealed. And then we have Blake Lively again, Mr. Kristen Bender coming in, and they are looking for a motion to serve third party Cynthia Barnes Slater by alternate service. I haven't read this yet, but I'm sure they're going to ask if they can serve her through social media like they did with Matthew Mitchell. So we'll get into that really quick at the end, but I'm pretty sure that's what they're asking for. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it today. But let's talk about this motion to compel. After Blake Lively tried to gaslight us all and lie to the courts and say that they've handed over all of their documents, the Wayfarer people came back and filed a motion to compel for her financials, because she is yet still to hand over any financials, yet is claiming loss of business, loss of income, loss of revenue, all of this stuff due to this conspiracy smear campaign that's been happening. And can't provide any of the stuff. So then Blake Lively's people came back and said, well, we don't think that we need to. We're waiting for expert discovery. And when it comes to Betty Boo's and the hair care line, Brown's, whatever hair care line, we're trying to get the financials, but we just can't do it. Blake Lively's tried really hard and she can't do it. She doesn't know where they are, can't get her hands on them. Okay. This is what the judge has said. It is good for the Wayfarer people, but also he rules on like some strange things. But anyway, at the end, she doesn't have to show like her net worth, but we'll have to obviously turn over, her financials. This is cuckoo bananas. When you filed this complaint in the CRD, the first CRD complaint, you obviously had your lawyers. You obviously talked about next steps. When you file something this big and you file and you want money back because you're claiming financial loss, emotional distress, all of this stuff that this happened to you, first, you're going to have to prove that you had emotional distress and it was severe enough and all of this stuff by your medical records. Well, now she doesn't want to turn over her medical records and doesn't have to. And withdrew her claims of emotional distress and infliction of emotional distress. But now she doesn't want to turn over her financials either, but is saying that loss of business. What did you think you were going to have to do? And you can't even prove a smear campaign, and you can't even prove SH yet. Why are we here? Blake, what are you doing? Like, you're going to have to prove some of this stuff. You're going to have to prove SH objectively and subjectively, right? And it was severe enough to cause you the emotional distress. Then you have to prove the actual emotional distress. But now we're using garden variety. But you still have to prove that. And now you actually have to prove the loss of damages, and you can only do that through financial records. What are we supposed to do? Just take your word on it? Take your word for everything? Maybe the judges, but not me, okay? Not anybody else, and not the jury, and that's for sure, if we even get this far, because I think Blake Lively is tanking her case so bad. If she's going to subpoena all of these people and she finds nothing with all of these subpoenas, you might as well just drop your case, honey, because, like, you know what I'm saying? Cuckoo bananas, guys. But this is the order from the judge, and this was filed on July 17th. The Wayfarer parties move to compel Blake Lively to provide within 7 days a computation of her alleged damages, the theory under which she seeks damages, and the documents supporting the computation pursuant to Rule 26, a verified response to an interrogatory seeking a computation of each category of alleged damages, the damages interrogatory, and documents relating to her claims for damages, including but not limited to documents sufficient to show her net worth, such as financial statements, assets, and liabilities. The damages request, and collectively with the foregoing discovery, the damages discovery. In her initial disclosure, Miss Lively is entitled to compensatory, mental anguish, and punitive damages, including treble damages arising from the injuries identified in her amended complaint, as well as attorney fees and cost. At a later date, Miss Lively will provide an estimate of damages in an amount to be determined by an expert in accordance with the scheduling order in this case. Miss Lively also seeks damages in an amount to be determined by the court under the New York's anti-SLAPP law. Interrogatory number 8 in the Wayfarer party's first set of interrogatories calls for Lively to describe in detail each type of damage, loss, or expense that you seek in your complaint. For each, state the nature of the alleged damage, loss, or expense, the total dollar amount of the alleged damage, loss, or expense, how that amount was calculated, and the facts which evidence and or support the alleged damage, loss, or expense. Makes sense, right? Lively objected on a number of grounds, including that the interrogatory prematurely sought information that was properly the subject of an expert testimony and was an improper contention interrogatory under Local Civil Rule 33.3. During a conference between the parties, the Wayfarer parties narrowed the damage interrogatory to request the compensation of each category of damage alleged as authorized by Local Rule Civil 33.3. So the Wayfarer people are playing ball with y'all. They've already narrowed down the scope. At some point, you're going to have to turn over your financials. Then they take all of the financial records and they give it to their expert. Lively also will have her own expert that she gives this to. Hello? Document request number 56 in the Wayfarer party's first request for the production of documents called for all documents and communications relating to your claims for damages. After reciting a number of objections, Lively responded, subject to and without waiving the foregoing objections and only after the entry of a mutually agreed upon ESI protocol, Ms. Lively will conduct a reasonable search for and produce non-privileged documents responsive to this request to the extent any exist. Document number 254 in the Wayfarer party's fourth set of requests for production called for documents sufficient to show your net worth for the period between January 1st, 2022 and the present, including without limitation financial statements, assets, and liabilities. Lively objected on a number of grounds, including relevance, overbreadth, and disproportionately, and offered to meet and confer. Rule 26 requires the disclosing party to provide a computation of each category of damages claimed by the disclosing party, who must also make available for inspection and copying as under Rule 34 the documents or other evidentiary material on which each computation is based, including materials bearing on the nature and extent of injuries suffered. The rule thus requires more than providing without any explanation undifferentiated financial statements. Yes, you're going to have to show some financial statements. What do you mean if they exist? How are you saying that you lost revenue, lost business, lost all of this stuff, but there's no records for it? We're just supposed to take your word on it? Although Lively's damages may depend largely on expert discovery, that does not relieve her of the obligation to comply with Rule 26. Courts in this district routinely find that a party may not refuse to respond to interrogatories seeking damages calculations on the ground that expert analysis will refine the damages calculation. There is no exception to Rule 26 in cases in which damages will be proved by experts. The disclosing party still has the responsibility to provide each category of required disclosures based on the information it has at the time, and to supplement those disclosures as more information is gained. Lively's attempt to limit the applicability Lively's attempt to limit the applicability of Rule 26 to cases which involve straightforward calculations is unavailing. The need for computation and supporting documents is especially necessary in a case like this, where the damages claim is for lost profits and simple arithmetic calculations is wholly inadequate. The plaintiff may not be able to clarify the precise method of calculating damages prior to expert discovery, and the amount initially claimed may turn out to be inaccurate. Right, so even though you are going to have experts obviously go over all of the stuff, you still need to provide it. To even try to fight this is a waste of the court's time. It's a waste of everyone's time. It's a waste of money, resources. Like, let's get the show on the road. For her lawyers to think that Lively would not have to produce financial records or doctor's records or anything like this. Like, what are you guys going to pull next? What are you withdrawing next? Oh, your claim that you lost money? Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to show this. You clearly want to show it, unless it's not as bad as they thought, because you know how much money she made from It Ends With Us? Do you know how much money since she was on the back end as a producer as well as an actress? I think she got paid $3 million, while everyone else, including Justin Baldoni, got paid under $200,000, I believe. Yeah, okay. And then can go on and say how it was such a small budget and they didn't have any money and there was no budget. Yeah, because you went over a wardrobe by $500,000 and you got paid $3 million while everyone else made their regular pay, do you know? Ugh. But Lively must have some basis for stating that she has suffered economic damages. Right. Presumably, those underlying facts will form the basis of any expert's future analysis, alleging based on internal sales projection, the negative campaign against Lively depressed retail sales of Blake Brown products by 56 to 78%. Lively is obligated to comply with Rule 26 as best she is able, including by providing a calculation of damages and supporting documents. Lively has agreed to produce all documents and communications relating to your claims for damages. She objects, however, to production of documents sufficient to show her net worth for the period of January 1st, 2022 and the present, including without limitation financial statements, assets, and liabilities. Why? Are you embarrassed or something? Just why? It's so strange. She argues, although financial statements and other lost profit information may be relevant to her damages claims, information such as liabilities, retirement savings, property values, or investments that are subject to market fluctuations have absolutely no bearing on any aspect of this case. The court previously granted Lively's request that the Wayfarer parties be ordered to produce documents sufficient to show the net worth of each of them, including financial statements, assets, and liabilities, and for the corporate entities' financial statements, year-end balance statements, and documents sufficient to show gross income, net income, and expenditures. In her letter motion, Lively focused on the fact that her request sought financial statements, assets, liabilities, and tax returns for the natural persons, as well as documents reflecting the liquidation of assets. She did not expressly address statements of net worth. In their response, the Wayfarer parties asserted that the request was improper because they had already agreed to produce documents concerning their damages. They also argued that they should not be required to produce tax returns. In granting the motion to compel, the court decided the issues presented to it, whether it was sufficient for the Wayfarer parties to produce information relevant only to their damages, and whether they should be required to produce tax returns. The court rejected the first argument of the Wayfarer parties and accepted the second argument, directing that the Wayfarer parties produce documents relevant to their finances, but denying the request that they produce tax returns. The Wayfarer parties' motion and the Lively response present an issue that was not presented in the prior Lively motion to compel. Whether a request for financial information relevant to the compensatory, business, and personal damages should require the production of information such as aggregate net worth, the value of real property, unrelated liabilities, and the value of the parties' retirement savings. The cases cited by the parties and that the court cited in its previous order do not contemplate such sweeping production. What is relevant to the case is Lively's business income and expenses, including income from and of her business entities, establishing whether such income and expenses had changed since the events described in her amended complaint. A party's net worth is only relevant here if there is a finding that punitive damages should be awarded. As Plaintiff Lively is not subject to punitive damages, especially given that information regarding a party's financial records may give rise to a privacy interest, Lively cannot be compelled to produce documents regarding her personal assets and liabilities with no relationship to any alleged loss in income or opportunities resulting from defendant's actions. Similarly, any documents regarding retirement savings, property values, investments, or other components of a natural person's net worth unrelated to lost profits, income, or business opportunities, which have been produced by the Wayfarer parties pursuant to the court's order at docket number 216, are relevant only to Lively's claims for punitive damages. Any information of this type that has been produced should remain strictly confidential pursuant to the court's protective order until and unless it becomes relevant at the punitive damages phase. The motion to compel is granted in part and denied in part. So she can show everything, but she doesn't have to show her net worth, her retirement savings, all of her properties and stuff like that. But anything that has to do with her business, her loss of income there, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I'll tell you right now, I don't think Blake's going to be working for a while. I don't think she's going to be acting for a long time. Because what producer, what company, what distribution would want her name attached to anything? And what other actors can trust even working in a scene with her? You would have to get paid a lot of money to ever be working with this woman. And I can say the same right now about Ryan Reynolds too. I don't think I've ever seen such self-sabotage before in my life than what Blake Lively is doing right now with all of these content creators and all of these subpoenas and literally just attacking everyone and silencing everyone. They're done. So I don't know if this is a trick for Ryan Reynolds, if he's really hates his wife and he's up to this and he's doing this and he's completely sabotaging her. But they're done. I mean, it's over. Do you know? I don't think she'll be able to come back from this for, I don't know, a long time. And Blake Lively's people have filed a motion letter to serve Miss Cynthia Barnes Slater by alternate service. This was filed today by Blake Lively. Miss Slater is the head of human resources at Wayfarer Studios. Doesn't she look like such a beautiful woman? I mean, just smiling and happy like most of the Wayfarer people are. I could just tell there's like light exuding from her, but they would like to serve her. I guess they've tried and can't get a hold of her. They state, I have no reason to believe that Miss Barnes Slater has retained counsel in connection with this action that could accept service on behalf of Miss Barnes Slater. On June 19th, 2025, I sent counsel for the Wayfarer parties the notice of intent to service Ms. Barnes Slater's subpoena, and no acceptance of service was provided in response. I additionally emailed counsel for the Wayfarer parties on July 10th and was informed that they do not represent Ms. Barnes Slater and could not accept service. So they are trying to serve her, and I'm sure they're going to try to do it through LinkedIn like they did with the other dude. And now something I just want to talk about quickly before we get to your comments, because what a find. And this was on Flossom Talk, and I just want to share something. Remember that dance montage? Y'all? Check this out. Yes, the same day that she's claiming the dance montage where she was trapped. Remember? She was trapped. She couldn't get away. The same day she writes Justin Baldoni, you were terrific. I'm proud of everything we did today, but really every day. And not only that, but only a few days after that, she invited me into her trailer while she was pumping. Wow. Super trapped, right? You're being repeatedly SH'd. You're trapped. They're doing all of these things to you. And then you're still texting them this kind of stuff, as well as inviting him to your condo late night to rehearse sexual scenes, to rewrite scenes. You're flying with him. You're inviting him into your trailer while you're pumping. You're bringing your kids on set. And we already went over the timeline, guys, but I'm telling you right now, Blake Lively's texts were so friendly and so forward, if you know what I mean, all over Justin, until she got her PGA credit. And then it was done. And I have a kind of a theory that she was trying to pin Justin and Jamie against each other. Just knowing Blake, she wants the adoration from everyone, and that, you know, they weren't buying into it. Obviously, Justin wasn't buying into all of her texts, her like crazy long paragraph text, no teeth, lively, I'm a ball buster, I'm this, I'm so flirty, I'm this. He didn't give leeway to any advances. Okay, not like that CEO hoe that we just talked about at the beginning of the video. Okay, and I think that made her spiraling. I think she tried the same techniques with Jamie Heath and he wasn't buying it. And she was just like so insecure and so bitter, and she won't stop. She's still not stopping. But the truth is going to come out. The truth always comes out. And after all of these subpoenas, and after all of these content creators, and after all of these Xers, and after all of these people, finally, Blake, will you finally just come to realize that what you did to Justin Baldoni and the Wayfarer people, which we would have never even known that you took over the edit, that you went over budget by $500,000 just on your wardrobe alone, the way you treated them, the way you literally blackmailed Sony to take Justin off the poster, to take his film by credit off the poster, or you wouldn't use Taylor Swift's music. All of these things, the way you tried to get them to apologize. I mean, the way you had that man sitting in a basement at his own freaking premiere and no one puts Baldoni in the basement. We would have known none of this had you not taken accountability for what you did and how you were behaving during the press tour of the freaking movie. And now, after all of this, when the dust settles and it's all done, you'll just come to know that it was you and it was your husband and no one was paid. People just weren't buying it. and people don't like you. And now it's a wrap for y'all. You went too far. Okay, let's get into a handful of your comments. Just some comments I found over the last week that made me, take pause, giggle, laugh, whatever it was. There's 5 of them. I usually like to do 5. If I didn't pick your comments, it's not personal. Keep commenting and let me know what y'all think about this. But yeah, here's some of the comments from the last week. Christine Hunt says, it is really weird that the judge was sitting on that dismissal all this time. Then day before her deposition, he dismissed, but no problem if she wants to refile. Not a lawyer, it just seems so fishy. Yeah, I know, it was weird. It was such crazy timing. It seems very fishy. I mean, you just can't make it up. Evelyn Goyden says, by granting Lively yet another extension until July 31st, Judge Lyman seems to endorse a strategy built on shaky ground. The documents they're hoping for from content creators who are rightfully fighting the subpoenas won't arrive in time, if ever. This delay isn't neutral. It artificially props up a weak case. And in a lawsuit that touches on free speech, such judicial leniency raises questions. Is justice still a safeguard against power, or just another tool for those who already have it? Evelyn, when I read this message, I was like, can you be on my lawyer? Can you be like, wow, girl, these words, everything you said, so true. And I love the question that you ask. Is justice still a safeguard against power, or is it just another tool for those who already have it? Right. So what, the big and the bad and the mighty just can get away with anything? Well, if they're bigger than we get squashed, then our rights and our voices are under attack because they have money and power and fame. Is justice for everyone, or is it just for the mighty? QF4WK, let's just say that. Televanela Bleak Delulu, Season 3, Episode 130, mid-2025. They are just starting broadcasting with Season 3. We will see Season 1 in 2023 and Season 2 in 2024, flashbacks in Season 04 in late 2026. We will find her acting very bad. She does not know how to act, but she is skilled at filing complaints and lawsuits, deceiving a foolish, corrupt judge in the court, and giving perjury. God, we have to watch and suffer 10 years of this, 10 season. Every season has at least 210 episodes. Bleak Delulu, like bleak, or Plague Delulu, because she is a plague. Plague Delulu is hilarious. I was laughing the whole time I was reading this because I was like, wow, how many seasons is there if we really say like Season 1 was the filming, Season 2 was the edit, and now Season 3 is the lawsuit, and Season 4 will be the trial or something, but I was laughing so hard, and I loved Plague Delulu because she is a plague. Asdod4145 wrote, as a filmmaker, can't you create a story not about this case but using stuff from it? The 3D chess game of narcissistic manipulators conning stupid journalists with dodgy legal plays and compromised judges, perhaps from the viewpoint of a content creator caught in a complex web they never expected at the start. A modern take on the journalism of the 60s and 70s that no longer exists. Network reconfigured for social media as legacy media implodes. What a logline, what a movie idea, what a story. Thank you for this. I just thought this was so interesting. I'm sure there's tons of people right now in Hollywood writing and rewriting their draft stories to try to, come up with like what they're going to do for the film. But this is really good, and it's such a good story because as content creators, like, we didn't expect to like be in, this far deep. We're allowed to voice our opinions and talk about public matters that are public, especially when you're in the eye in Hollywood. I mean, Blake Lively has been in the media since she was a kid. Like, this is nothing new to her. So the fact that she's, still doing all of this is absolutely nuts. I totally agree. The judge's rulings, everything that's happening in this case, everything that we found out from the Wayfarers, people's own complaints that we would have never known about. Like, there's just so much. And now more subpoenas are coming. Blake Lively's people said on the call that they have over 60 more subpoenas to serve, so we'll see who's next. And the next one actually has 2 in it. And I know it's formatted a little funny because when I was reading them, I took this from actually my Mac and not my phone. Forgive me that the formatting isn't the same, okay? But this was from Drella Y2K. If we were to make Delulu an actual word, put it in the dictionary with an image, it would be Blake Lively's face. It would. Someone should do that. And then Blanca Freeman wrote, the PR guy, the lawyers plus RR's bright idea to create fear. It's a very bad strategy. They will see the consequences soon. And they are seeing them right now in real time. The consequences of creating fear. It's literally only fueling creators more and banding us closer together. And yeah, getting them more followers and more views and allowing people to continue to talk about this instead of allowing it to maybe die out is nuts. Okay, well, that's it for me for today. I hope you all are having a good day. I hope you have a really great week. I do want to leave you with something that's been on my mind in conversations that I've been having lately, and it's really about the assumption of self and being fully aware and just like knowing in your presence who you are, what you hold, what your power is, and what your voice can do, and knowing that you are worthy. And with your self-assumptions, you should just live your life based on those assumptions in yourself, in your soul, in your mind, and not what the world is presenting to you or what you can see with your eyes. Now, that will come with people laughing, rolling their eyes, snickering, especially the people closest to you or the people who think that they've known you the longest or people who have been watching you throughout the years. They might, not see it, not believe it, not know it to be true, but you know it to be true. And you are allowed to choose every day who you want to be. You are allowed to create new. Every experience that you are creating is a new version of yourself, and you have never been here before. This is new. You know what I mean? Like everything is new and you're allowed to do that. And if you want to go and do something or create something or be someone, and you are living with that assumption that it is already done. I am this person. I am this thing, whatever it is. People might laugh, okay? They might roll their eyes. They might snicker behind your back and talk and blah, 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 blah. Let them, because that says more about them as a person than it ever does about you. Never, ever fall for it, okay? And something that Neville Goddard said on Sunday when I was kind of going through it and I just needed to like be in silence and stillness, and a video of his that I was listening to, and he said, they might laugh, they might snicker, they may resist, but it is not your concern. Their reactions are echoes of old assumptions. Let them pass. You are creating something new. So those people who might have seen you try and fail and do this and do that, what you're doing now, they are maybe just judging based on old assumptions that they have of you. They don't know this new you yet. So let them see it. And you know what? F the haters, okay? Because who would choose to hate rather than support? It says a little bit more about them than it does of you, doesn't it? At least you're trying. At least you're in the field. At least you have the courage to keep going, to keep creating, to keep finding you, to keep open. So don't listen to any of the noise. If you want to do something and if you want to be something, it starts with your own assumption of self, and it starts with you. And you need to find it every day and let it shine. And the rest of the world, I promise, will catch up to you. I hope you have a good weekend. I hope you have some joy this weekend and you find some time for you to, just a few moments to find home again and find love and find stillness and just, shine, be happy, love yourself, and love yourself a little bit more every single day when you can. I love you, and I am so happy to be here talking to you every chance that I get. Thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.